do the types of reactions, predicting reactions. First one you have to be able to do is a combination reaction. Combination reaction means you're basically going to put something together, right? So when you go to put it together, the cardinal rule is on the right-hand side, you always have to crisscross. Crisscross, right? So like here, Al and O2. If I'm putting them together, I know it's a combination reaction because it's, or synthesis because it's element-element. So what I do is I take Al3 plus, O2 minus, I get the values off the periodic table or what I have memorized, and I crisscross. So if I take Al, ultimately I'm going to end up with Al2, O3. You notice how that 2 over there doesn't matter over there? That's what I talk about. You always, just because you have a subscript on the left, means nothing on the right-hand side. You have to cross fresh. Fresh. Next one. If I look here at copper, they would tell you the charge. Let's say this is 2 plus. Oxygen. Element and an element. So how do I put it together? Well, I crisscross. Cu2 plus. O, look at the periodic tables, O2 minus. Crisscross the 2. I end up with CuO. And then obviously from there you'd have to balance. This is just going over predicting. Next one, magnesium and nitrogen, same thing. Just because there's a 2 there, it doesn't mean anything. What I do is I look at the periodic table, magnesium, positive ion always goes first, nitrogen 3 minus, I crisscross, I end up with Mg3N2. Right there, those are the easy ones. If I just have element, I'm just shoving them together. Now, there are 2 that require a little memorization. So when we talk about the ones that require memorization, the first one is when you have a metal oxide. If you have something that is a metal oxide, it means metal and oxygen, like right there, the CaO. The rule is, whenever you have water on the left-hand side, it has to be a synthesis reaction. So you have to learn to look for the right. If water is on the left-hand side, it means it's going to be synthesis. You have to, that has to be memorized. So you go, oh, it's synthesis. Well, there's only 2 kinds of synthesis. The metal oxide one is where you just automatically, you're going to make a base. So you automatically take the metal. The thing you have to memorize is you're crossing the metal with hydroxide automatically. The product of a metal oxide and water is always going to be a metal crossing with OH. It's a base. That's what you call it. But if you just remember that, it makes it easier to complete. So like if I look here, what I would do is, for this one, I would go CaO plus water. Alarm goes off. I know it's a synthesis reaction, which means I look. That's a metal, so I'm going to bring the metal over, Ca2 plus, get it right off the periodic table, metal and water, I'm going to make a base, so I go OH minus, I crisscross applesauce, I get CaOH, parentheses 2, boom shakalaka. Okay, let me do one more. Let's say I gave you K2O plus H2O. Alarm goes off, I have water on the left-hand side. I look, oh, I got a metal, G. Willikers. So I'm going to bring the metal over, K plus. I know automatically from memorization, cross it with the OH, bam, I get KOH. And then obviously I have to check that's not balanced, but you can do the balancing at this point. I expect you to be able to do that. Second type is when I take a non-metal oxide. Okay, so the next one is a non-metal oxide. Well, what does a non-metal oxide look like? It looks like that right there. I have SO3 plus water. How do I know this is a synthesis reaction? Right there, I have water. But in this case, I have a non-metal. So what I call this one is I call this a cram together reaction. Cram together, because what you're basically going to do is cram all the elements together. You're going to total the H's. You're going to total whatever the non-metal is that they give you, and then you're going to total the number of O's, because ultimately you're really making an acid. The easy way to do it is simply this. How many H's do I have on the left-hand side? 2. Cacao, put a 2 there. I take my non-metal, which is S, drop it in there like it's hot, and then I take my 3 oxygens and my other one, and I put a 4 there. Thus, hence, therefore, making H2SO4. Boom shakalaka. That's how you do that. You want to do another one? Of course you do. SO2 plus water. How do I know what kind of reaction this is? Water on the left-hand side. I know it is a synthesis reaction, so I'll give a little S there for synthesis, which means I check. Oh, I got a non-metal. That is a cram together. That's how you spell together. I'm going to take my H's, 2. I'm going to take my nonmetal, S. I'm going to take my O's, bam, H2SO3, boom shakalaka. Those are all the synthesis types of reactions. So to review really quickly, if you think about it like this. If you have an element and element, you crisscross on the right-hand side. The subscripts don't come with. Start fresh. Element, element, crisscross, element, element, crisscross. These are different because they're still synthesis. The fact that they have water on the left-hand side, if you have a metal oxide, I cross with OH, pull the metal over. If it's a non-metal, I just basically cram it together and total it like that.